made up of different sections, good, different multiple sections with images, setting that if this site was actually a moving site, probably there'll be some videos. Now, this is what understanding layout means. Everywhere here happens to be on one section, right? Can you hear me? Yes. So everything here is on one section. This is one box. So everything here is on one section, but still bearing in mind that inside each of these sections are other sections. So this section is a full box this way, but inside this box, there is 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 this box that has, there is this box. Now, inside this other box, there is still another, there is still like what we call a multi-layer. There is a box that needs to open, and then these two boxes. Same thing applies here. There's a box that first opens, that now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. Now, when you see a web page as a developer, one of the first things that should come to your head, or that should be registered in your mind, is how many boxes make up this system? How many? Now, in that arrangement of the boxes, it helps you strategically align the boxes right. So in a situation whereby you have this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, layouts helps that you can now arrange them according to how you want each to display. For example, you want these guys to be 4 of them here, and this one on this other side. Now you have to be careful to now know that, okay, this makes up the header. This is the nav. This is part of the header, and this is the hero section. Now, if you don't understand how to treat each of these guys as a box that are either stacked or aligned or arranged side by side, you will not really be able to effectively implement that site. So, for example, you're just given a design like this, and you are not sure, okay, what am I trying to do here? What am I trying to achieve here? I need to know, first of all, that there is a box on top of everything else. Then there is a second box underneath it. There is a second box next. Then there is a section that now has some very funny arrangements that has a box, then a box. Now, I like to do this with pen and paper a lot of times. So what I just do is I draw my boxes. This is 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box, 5 boxes on top of this 1 box. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of 1. Now, knowing fully well that 1, 2, 3, 4 is on one side and this one is on this other side already tells you how you should implement this layout. Now, in the same way, this other box comes under these other boxes. So that also helps you to now know how you stack up the system. You stack it up. When you come to this point, you know that everything here, post format, about me, and everything here, you now know, okay, everything, can it be in one box? No. You now decide to look at it and say, okay, how can I split it into a way that I can comfortably write this code? So you can say, okay, this is 1 box, this is another box. Now, if I want to do this, everything on this left-hand side would be inside 1 box, and then everything on this right-hand side would be inside 1 box. I'm intentional about using the word box. Everything here will be 1 box, and everything here would be 1 box. But everything from here down, it's 1 box. If this was a live video, I would have actually drawn on the board and it's shown us how actually this box I'm talking about looks like. Just draw it like a box, like normal box that you know. So this is a box, and this whole everything here is a box. Then everything from here down, everything completely inside 1 box. That way you can now start segmenting it. You now know that this one is a separate box. This one is a separate box. This one is a box that has multiple boxes inside. Now, if you are able to comfortably understand this layout system, it will be easy for you to implement any system you are given. I don't know if some clarity has been brought to this subject. Perfect. Thank you very much. So please let's use the emojis. That works. That works. Thank you very much. That works. So whenever you thank you. Uncle, so I didn't get that name. Uncle something. There's a hand I see up. Is it Uncle something? Okay, the hand is down. Okay, thank you very much. So any further questions? Okay, Mesoma, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Please, I don't
Yeah, good
understand what you
evening.
mean by box. Do you mean section?
Yes, sections. I had to use,
Okay,
that's why I said I
thank
was
you.
intentional about the word box because of those that might not really understand the much more advanced terms. But I mean
Okay,
sections.
thank you very much.
Okay. I believe no further questions on this angle. Okay. I have 3 more minutes on this particular section. So any more questions?
You haven't answered my question. You said I should remind you.
Thank you very much, my dear. What was your question again? Remind me, please. Sorry. Just do a quick recap. Once you do
Like,
a quick
I'm
recap, I'll
just
remember.
trying to know if there is maybe a little tip you can give us for us to be able to navigate the course completely more easier, or a path that we should follow for it.
Okay. So web development on its own, it's good thing about it is that it's direct English language. It's English. When I mean it's English, what I'm saying, what I mean it's English is this. It's the items, the names are practically very relatable. They are very relatable. For example, when you hear section, you hear aside, you hear article, you hear main, you hear div, you hear span. Now, basically, span is just you saying, okay, I expand something, right? Increased it from a particular position to an extended position. Now, uh, one of the best ways to learn web development is to stop thinking about it as something abstract. Stop thinking about it as something abstract, something that you're just trying to understand how it works. You're thinking of it as one big item over there, something that just exists in space. No, it is something very relatable. For example, when we talked about a full web page, there are two parts, two major parts: the body and the head, right? The body and the head. Now, just understand it as this is like a letter. I'm writing a letter. And in that letter, before I deliver it, there has to be the head of the letter and the body of the letter. And you know that when you're writing the head of a letter, you have the title of that letter, which is actually the title in the head section of a HTML document. And in the body, that's where you now write the main content you want. Now, I'll go back to sharing my screen and just do a quick explanation. Now, is my screen up? Okay, it is good. Now, I might have to share the whole screen for it to work. Let me share my whole screen, my whole entire screen. Yep. Okay, perfect. Now, if you observe, there is a name here on this at the top of this site, right? There's a name there. Now, that name can be decided by you as a developer. That is part of the title. Later, when you get to JavaScript, discover how you can manipulate that title to have it to decide what you want to show there per time. But that is not the subject of conversation right now. The subject of conversation right now is this title. You can decide it. So it's like writing a letter. You can decide what the title of the letter should be. Letter to my father. Letter to this person. Letter of application. Letter to this. It's the title. That is what exists there. So if you think tech or think HTML as the everyday items you use, it will be easier. H1 to H6 headers. You just think it's H1 header heading one, which means that one is definitely first, comes at the top. You just know that okay, it goes like that: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heading 1 to heading 6. Heading 1 the largest, heading 6 the smallest. P paragraph already. P paragraph. A anchor tag, that's a link. Once you just said the word anchor, just remember links. So don't try to cram these items, just try to relate with them. It is easier if you personally when I'm coding, I call most of my elements and tags guys. I call them guys. This guy is not working, this guy is not working. You try to relate with and understand that you're just looking at English language. Heading H1 to H6. Like what we're looking at today: image, IMG, video, video, audio, SVG. These are basic items that are relatable. SVG, scalable vector graphics. These are things that are very, very relatable. You don't need to start thinking about it like you're thinking rocket science. No, just try to see how you can relate to them directly. For example, you mentioned Mr. Mr. Daniel mentioned attributes last week. You don't need to think too much about it. I think this explanation was just perfect, was simply perfect. You are in a class. We have in a class of about 55 people that are all of them, their names are Mardia. If I walk into that class and I shout Mardia, there is everybody will turn to look at me. But the moment I say Mardia Isa, now, this is the funny thing. If there are three other Mardia Isa in that class, the three of them will still turn to think I am referring to them. But until I am specific about that particular Mardia that I'm calling, so for example, I could say Mardia Isa, the one wearing a red dress. I have given, I have given that particular Mardia Isa an identity, an attribute, something that stands it out. So an attribute is just a system that just makes sure that an element stands out, because most elements would always be the same. They will always look the same. They will always be repeated. They will constantly be repeated. So the best way to be able to manipulate elements on their own is just like singling out an element to manipulate them, to just be able to manipulate them. For example, you have an anchor tag. You will have several anchor tags in the system. There will be so many. But what would differentiate one anchor tag from the other is an attribute called the href, which is the destination location of where that link is going to. So you don't try to understand it with like rocket science. Just try to relate with it. For example, you have color, you have style, you have all these things are just things that helps you to just say, okay, this this element, I want to give it a different feel. I want to do something different to it. So you cannot decide to give it a class name or an ID. I want to believe Mr. Daniel mentioned ID and class last week. ID and class. So you just choose what you want to give to it, and that way you single it out and apply what you want to apply to it. That's attributes. Elements, very simple. We have an opening tag, it's just like a house. You have an opening tag, you have some content, and you have a closing tag. Now, that closing tag, I used to tell most of my students, just know that that tag is greater than, less than, and greater than with the tag name. That is a tag. The other one, the closing tag, less than, forward slash, the tag name, and that is all. Just once you're able to relate to these guys as directly as that, you don't think about it like like you're doing something abstract. Where the challenge comes is when you're thinking about it as something abstract, something that does not just exist in this world. No, it's something that exists in the world we are. There are basic things. Paragraph. You write paragraphs in letters. So by the time you write you write the first paragraph, you write the second paragraph, you write multiple paragraphs in the same website. All you just need to understand is there is a reference. I don't know if we've gotten that document. There's a reference of all the elements. Your job is just to sit down, analyze each of them, and try to see where and where and where and where and where can we use this? Where and where can we use this? Where can we use this? Note this very quickly. You can use multiple elements to achieve the same purpose. Yes, you can use multiple elements to achieve the same purpose, but don't be tempted to always do it often. You can use the same. There are times when you just decide to, just for semantic issues, just decide to just use some elements to achieve the same results, right? So I just avoid that fear that is something abstract. Avoid it, and just spend more time with after the classes, you just get to the video, listen to what has been done for that day, and it will actually help your knowledge base. So I don't know if that helps you, my dear.
Yeah, it is very helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. So my time is up on that particular subject. So let's go to today's class. So I said today I'll be talking about multimedia. So today, for the subject we have today, I will be doing I'll be doing what I want to call the how do I explain this English? I'll be doing the theory for today. We'll just talk today's basically theory. It's tomorrow Yeah, we have a class tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow I would come in to actually do the main practicals. So please, I want to try to beg you to try to be attentive. And if you have a question, don't hesitate to indicate. We'll take questions. So introduction to HTML multimedia. Okay, so understanding HTML multimedia elements. There are three major multimedia elements. Three, three major multimedia elements. One is the audio element, the second one is the video element, and the third one is the image element. So basically, the audio element allows you to embed and play audio files. So for example, you want to have an audio file in the system, you can comfortably use your audio tag to play audio files. Then video element also allows for embedding and playing of video files. I think that's quite direct. So when you have a video file you want to embed in the system, now note that these files can either be local or they can be files from a remote server. Now, when I mean remote server, for example, you can have a YouTube link and you want to embed that YouTube link to your video element, to your site, you can actually embed that URL to the system. Now, the video element, the image element, and the audio element work in different capacities and in different ways. Now, sometimes the audio element might have reasons to not work on some browsers. So there will be need for you to now establish it with other systems. When we go ahead, you'll see that. But I think by tomorrow we'll do the practical of that. Now, embedding audio files in HTML. Use the audio element to embed audio files. Now, supported audio formats are MP3, WAV, OGG. Now, when you have the audio element, let me click my code editor. You have the audio element. You have an audio file, probably a song, or whatever it is, and you want to embed that in your HTML. All you just need to do is write the audio tag. Let me quickly do a quick just a quick show. You add the HTML the audio source. I'll just show the same. I want to show the same tags very quickly. Source, and then you add the file you want to import. Now, the file you want to import, as I said, can either be from a remote URL or a local document. That's something that exists in your laptop. Now, if you have a file that exists in your laptop, an audio, a video, or a picture that exists in your laptop, you can use that. But sometimes you might not have that audio in your laptop. For example, you're just going through a site and you saw a song and you feel like, okay, I should attach this song to my site, or I should get this image and use it in my site. Now you can just get the image URL, and embed the URL as the source. Now, the shortfall of doing that, it's a very good idea, yes, but the shortfall of doing that is that if that file is deleted from the source, more like if, for example, you can use a Facebook, let's say use a Facebook, an image from Facebook, and you just get the link and embed the link. If that file is deleted from Facebook on your site, it is gone also. On your site, it is gone also. That's why it is not advisable to actually use URLs from remote sites, especially remote sites that you do not control. Even if it's the one you control, it is still not advisable. It is always better to use files that exist in your local server, so that when you can now upload them to your own main site, and when you upload them, they now exist within your site. So the only way that file will no longer exist would not be when something has actually happened to your site. So now there's something we call controls. It's an attribute we call controls. That's the audio. Now controls. Use the controls attribute to display audio controls. Some controls include play, pause, volume slider, progress bar. Now, when you have the controls, let me just do this. Let me switch tab. Let me switch tab to show. Switch tab. Okay, so we have like we have an audio. This is an audio tag. If you can see my screen, this audio is an audio tag. So we can have controls. Now, this is the source attribute I was talking about here. So this is where you can either decide to embed a remote URL or an absolute link from your local machine. So it can be a song you have, it can be a song from a remote URL. So, but let me just get something from a remote URL. Let me see if I can get something from a remote URL or just get from my local machine, please. Slash. I don't have anything here. Audio. Audio 1. So I can decide to have audio, then audio slash audio 1.mp3. Now, having this audio embedded in this system, if I should go live, I think I'm about to share my entire screen eventually on this. So this is my live link, 192. This localhost 5500. Okay, localhost. So this is what we have. This is what we have when we use the audio tag, that audio tag, yes. Now, if I decide to remove these controls, for example, if I decide to remove these controls and I save, of course, by the time I'm back here, it's even gone because I need the controls. So let's see. Controls. So these controls decide now I can play this audio. I play it. I can have my volume slider. I can also choose to either increase the playback speed and all that. So that's how it works with the audio tag. Now, use controls to attribute to use a controls attribute to display audio controls. Controls include play, pause, volume slider, and progress bar. Now, use the video element to embed video files, supported video formats, MP4, WebM, OGG. Now you can set the video
Sorry,
source
you're
using
muted. You
this.
can't hear what you're saying.
Oh shoot, I'm muted. Wait, hold up. Am I muted?
You're not muted. We can hear you.
No, I wasn't muted. I wasn't muted. Can you hear me right? I wasn't muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I knew I was not muted. Okay, so I was talking about the video tag. So we have video also, and then the video always has a source. Now this source contains the URL to where we can find the video. So this is audio. So I can move a video file to that particular location. So let me move a video file. Let me bring a video file down here. So with that, I can now say slash video1.mp4 controls. So when I have this and I try to access this, now you can see the video size. If I can play the video, so I have a video embedded in my site. Now the same way it also works with images. I can just have img. Now img also has a source. You observe that all these guys have one thing: source. They always have the source. So I have images here. I can use, which image is this? Okay, perfect. I can use this guy. So image, I can, and now I have images folder, images slash image one dot jpeg. So when we have that, we have, so we have audio, we have video, and we have image, right? We have audio, we have video, and we have image. Now, the question here could be, how do I even access these files considering the folder structure? That's a big question. A lot of times it's actually a deep question to ask. But now, one of the easiest ways to do is just to understand how your folder structure works. How is your folder structured in the first place? Now, this is my index.html, right? Now, this is my index.html. I could say, okay, I create a folder and call the folder media. Now, this folder is what contains my audio, video, and images. For example, let's do that. Audio, video, and images. So this is actually a media folder. Now, this system is created and is structured automatically that whatever you have here automatically goes to the root folder. As long as once you just capture a folder that starts from the beginning, it automatically looks for that folder from the beginning. That is this root folder. That's the way it is structured. Now, in a situation whereby you are in a folder and you need to more like come out of that folder. For example, you have a folder like this called pages, for example. I have a folder called pages, and inside that pages, we now have index.html, for example. I hope you are following me. Pages, then we have index.html, and I need to import an image from media. I think I should take out this media very first. I need to take out this folder also. Now I need to access an image from this folder, media images. Now, one of the first things I need to do is that I need to come out of this folder because I am in here. So it's just like I am inside this house and I need to come into this house and pick up a file. So one of the first things I need to do is to come out of this house first. How do I come out of this house? I have dot slash links me out of this house. So at this point, I am now in my root folder. I am now in the root. On this one, why it was so easy to direct, because this guy and whatever it is I'm trying to access are in the same folder. They're in the same root. But now this guy is inside these pages. So I need to bring it out of these pages. I need to more like come out. I'm using this illustration so we can actually get the picture I'm trying to paint here. Now, this guy needs to come out of this pages folder. That is why this double dot becomes important. Dot slash. I'm trying to explain this in the most simple as possible. Now, when you come out of these pages, you know that the next folder you want to enter is media. So you have media slash. Now that media slash takes you now into the folder. In other words, when you want to come out, you use dots or dot. When you want to go into a folder, you just use slash. Once you do slash, it gives you the folder. It cannot go into any folder and get any file you want from inside that folder. Now, but always make sure that your folder arrangement is easy to navigate, because if it's not easy to navigate, it becomes tedious to actually get the files you need to get per time. If, for example, if I want to get a file now that exists in my laptop desktop, it's going to take a lot of work because I'll have to start navigating and navigating and navigating. Not like I cannot, but I have to navigate and navigate, which is a lot of stretching. That is why it's always advisable that everything is arranged properly in in your folder.
So please, I don't understand this segment.
You don't understand which one? What?
The one that takes you to the root. I got lost at that root segment and all.
Okay. Okay. So let's do an illustration quickly. Let's do an illustration quickly. So this is a boardroom. Let me use this is a boardroom, and this is a file that is needed in this particular meeting. This file is needed in this meeting. This particular file is needed in a meeting, and this file does not exist. This boardroom does not exist in the main building. The boardroom only exists in a room in the main meeting, in the main building rather. So there is a room and there is a boardroom. So now for you to access these files, one of the first things you need to do is that you will need to come out of the room that's in the boardroom first. You need to come out of that room first before you can now enter the next room and get the file you need. In other words, in the file directory structure, you need to be able to exit a certain directory and have access to the next directory to be able to access the file you need. So I need a file that exists in this directory, in this folder rather. I need to be able to do a directory structure such that I can access this file from this folder without any complications. And that is where this directory formula is needed here. So I am coming out of this folder, which is index.html, this file rather, index.html that exists inside this pages folder. Now, in this other one that's, okay, let's look at it this way. Index.html and media are in the same folder, right? Yes. Now, but this other index, let me rename it to index 2 so that it's not confusing. But now index 2 and images are not in the same folder. Index and images are in the same folder. Index 2 and images are not in the same folder. Now, then considering the fact that they are not in the same folder, it is important that I try to bring them to the same level. I try to have access to the images folder even from the index 2 folder. That is why I needed to actually hit up this structure. So this double dot is like a directory format that helps you more like leave the previous, the folder you are in to come out to an outside folder. Now, if for example, let me add another layer to this. More pages. Let me add another layer to this. And move this index 2 to that more pages. I want to show you something. Let me create a new folder. Okay, so now I'm doing something here. Index 2 is now in more pages, that is in pages, and I am trying to access this file in images. What do I need to do? First of all, I need to come out of the first double dot slash brings me out of more pages and brings me to this folder where I have pages and this and more pages and this. Now another extent of it now brings me to this folder where I can now access my images slash image1.jpg. I don't know if you get the picture now. I know that's clear. Is that clear? If that's clear, just use an emoji or something to clarify, to identify that. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So use the video element to embed video. Okay. Use video elements to embed video files. Supported video file format, MP4, WebM, OGG, set video source using the source attribute. We've had that conversation already. Use the controls attribute to display video controls. Controls include play, pause, volume slider, progress bar, full screen. I'm sure we saw those items earlier when we where are you going to? Okay, so this is the play. This is full screen. These are other controls. This is audio, volume, and the rest of it. So that can be done. That is done using the controls attribute. So once I remove the controls attribute in video, once I remove this controls attribute, the moment I remove it, I'm not expecting those controls to still be there, but the video will still be there. Can't control this video anymore. It now becomes like a picture. It's not actually ideal. So the controls are necessary. Now, intentionally, when we get to JavaScript, we will be able to manipulate some of these controls and play around a few things around that. Okay, so we can use CSS to customize the appearance of multimedia elements, apply styles to the audio. Sorry?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but please, before you move on, please, how would you get your video into your VS Code? Do you just like copy and paste or you drag it in? Because let's say I don't have videos in my VS Code or audio like sounds. Do I drag it to the HTML page or I copy and paste? Like I want to clarify that.
Yes, you just copy and paste. Now, VS Code does not. Let me clarify this. I think there's a statement you made I need to clarify because that sounds like a misconception. VS Code does not store any of your files. VS Code does not store any of your files. VS Code helps you write code. Now, these files you are seeing, I don't know if how many of you have checked it, that these folders you are creating exist in your system. It exists in your laptop. So VS Code is just this site, this particular part, this part of this site here is an explorer. It's just like your normal file explorer in your system. So everything you see here, there's a folder in your system that everything here is. So all you just need to do is copy that video to that folder, create a folder, copy the video to that folder. You can do it manually even in your system. I'm trying to debunk the whole it must be to VS Code thing. It can be to the folder in your system. It can be the folder on VS Code, which is still the folder in your system. I don't know if you understand my point. Perfect. Thank you very much. Any further questions before I go ahead? Okay, perfect. So you can use CSS to customize the appearance of multimedia elements, apply styles to audio, video, and image elements. Now you can use CSS properties like width, height, border, and background. I don't know if we tried doing anything with style last week, but I wouldn't want to go there today. I wouldn't want to go here today. I wouldn't want to go here today. So just know that we can use styling. We can use styles. But let me just ask, did you do anything on style last week? Someone should just respond quickly. Did you do anything on style last week? No, sir. Perfect. Okay. So that's why I
No,
said I won't,
please.
yeah. So I won't go there today. I won't go there. So, but just know that you can touch up the width, height, border, and background of your HTML. Now, let me tell you some of your multimedia elements. Let me say this very quickly. Width and height, beyond being CSS properties, they are also attributes. Yes, they are also attributes. So, for example, I can actually effect a height change in my HTML, in my video. For example, this video that has controls, I can put height and say 300 pixel, and I have width. I can set a height width of say 250 pixels. If I do that, see the video size has been manipulated. So it's not until you're able to play with style before you can actually do some things, because height and width are also attributes. I can play the height of this guy and say this is 120 pixels or just 120, and then width I can say width it should be about 20, or no, let's use something bigger, 100, and I save it. What I have is this. So you actually see that you don't need to actually have some very serious knowledge on, say, you are doing styling for it to actually manipulate the height and width of any of these multimedia elements, because height and width on their own are attributes. So moving on. Now, using media queries. Now you can use CSS media queries to make multimedia elements responsive. Now, you can adjust the size, position, controls based on screen size. Now, Media query is a structure, it's a system put in place that helps you to actually manage displays across different layouts and different screen sizes. So you can choose what you want to see in a particular screen size. So for example, you're using a 1024 pixel screen, or you're trying to now if you observe, let me just give a highlight on what media query looks like and what it does. If you observe, the way you see your Facebook on web on your desktop is not the same way it looks like on your phone. I'm talking about the app now. I'm talking about www.facebook.com. The way it looks like on the desktop is not the same way it looks like on your mobile phone. Now, what was the magic that made that happen? Something called media queries. So media queries simply just helps you make your system responsive such that it is built with respect to your screen size. So you can build a system and you decide what you want to happen on desktop size, or you decide what you want to happen on a mobile screen size. Now, provide alternative text for images using the alt attribute. Using the alt attribute. Now, the alt attribute is very important in the sense that it's possible that something could go wrong with your image. Something could go wrong with your image, and you now need something to stand in that space. So I'm going to add an alt attribute and show us what that looks like. I'm going to add that and show us what that looks like. So by the time I add an alt attribute here, and I say image of a file folder. Now I'm going to break this image. There is no image. This image does not exist. I'm breaking it. So observe what happens. It's now showing that this image is actually broken. What it's showing now is the alternative text. Now, if the image actually exists, if the image actually exists, you would not need the alternative text. So the alternative text actually exists to help you cover the fact that there's an image, and in case something happens to the image, it should still be able to make a user know that, okay, there is meant to be an image here. Now, the interesting thing about this image is it can also be read by screen readers. So which means that all these narration apps can actually pick out this image and actually read it out. Can say, okay, for example, a blind person is accessing the site. At this point, this alternative text, the screen reader can read this alternative text and just probably something like image of a file folder. Just reads out what the alternative text is. So the alternative text should be short and as descriptive as possible. Should be short. We have something like a lady wearing a red dress. Short, but as descriptive as possible. That is how necessary an alternative text is. Moving on. I think we're almost done. Yes. Now, best practice for multimedia optimization. Best practices. Always compress and optimize multimedia files for faster loading. Okay, Onidamola, please go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to ask that if alternative text, does that mean it is compulsory? And is it only for the image file? You can't use it for any other thing.
So I didn't get that.
I wanted to ask that the alternative text you just talked about, that is it compulsory? Like, do we always have to have an alternative text every time we are putting an image in the website?
When you use the word compulsory, what's the word now? I don't think that's the word. The word is not compulsory. The word is necessary. It's not compulsory. You can do a site without an alternative text. You certainly can. Yes, you can. But doing a site without alternative text means that you are giving yourself a shorthand. If, for example, an image breaks, it's going to affect the system, such that someone is going through the system and does not even know that something is missing here, does not even know what image is actually missing in that location. Now, if a physically challenged person is using that site, you discover the person will not be able to understand what is going on because the screen reader won't be able to describe what is meant to happen in that particular section. So alternative text is not compulsory, but it's highly necessary. It's very, 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 very necessary. Now, you don't need alternative text for video and audio. You don't need it. A broken image, broken video rather, or a broken audio will just show the interface, but it will not play, it will not do anything else. It will just show the interface. That's the difference. So you don't need alternative text for audio and video, but for images, you need alternative text. Okay. Thank you very much. Iklas, Adiola.
Sorry, please. I saw something like subtitles, like you can add subtitles when I was reading the slides. Please, can you shed more light on it?
Okay. So you said something about what?
Subtitles. Like I read something like that. Subtitles can be added somewhere in the slide. So I don't know if you can, talk more on it. Yes, that one.
Okay. So you can actually, just like the way you have controls, just the same way you have controls, you can also have subtitles. You can have subtitles. Now, the subtitles basically is for it's an advanced use. It's an advanced use. It's an way, way, way advanced use because sometimes you might have to be able to manipulate the subtitles. So when an audio is playing or a video is playing, it might necessarily need to display. You know what subtitles basically are, right? So it might be necessary that it should display the what's the name? What's the word now? Display subtitles. I'm looking for a better for a way to explain what subtitles are, but I can't find that right now. To display subtitles. So when you have caption is like the head you have an image. Let me even do that quickly. You have an image, and in that image, you need to have a heading. That's the word. A heading, a reference, a title for that particular video or audio. You can add what we call a caption. Now, as I said, all this practice, everything you've seen here um will be looked at in tomorrow. We're going to try to break each down properly tomorrow. Use them in a real use case. We're going to actually do our sizing properly tomorrow. So basically, caption is like you putting like a title to a picture or a video. Just that title. You have a video. You go to YouTube and you see a video that has a particular kind of title, a caption. The subtitle options basically is where you have um, a video that's playing, and that video has some audio inside of it. Now that audio can be translated, can be transcribed into text and displayed at the bottom of your video. So that's subtitle. Now, but the subtitle sometimes will need to be transcribed, and not all videos have that transcription in them to be able to display the subtitle. So when that video does not have the transcription in it to display the subtitle, even if you use the subtitle tag, it will still not display. That's why I said subtitle and captions are a little expansive. They will require you to do some manipulation, some data manipulation, and basically data manipulation. Because if the video does not have a subtitle attached to it, the subtitle will not display. I don't know if you understand, if you get the point. Thank you very much. Any further questions? Okay. Compress. I was talking about compress and optimize multimedia files for faster loading. So don't just use very large images. At times when you go to a site, it's called an image would be the reason why a site is not loading fast. Sometimes the site will just take so much time. Why? Because a very heavy video is trying to load. So you have to be very conscious about making sure that your sizing, your image, your multimedia files rather, are not too large. Now, by tomorrow, I should be able to give us the size. When I'm going to show us using different sizes to show you the impact of large files on a web page. Yes, different sizes to show you the impact of a large size on a web page. It's actually a very it actually affects a web page a lot. Actually does. So it's important that you actually have a threshold for images that you upload, a threshold for videos that you upload, um, and a threshold for audio that you upload. Okay, so there's something here I missed out. Now choose appropriate formats and resolutions for different devices. Now you know that if you are building a system and um you know that particular system is purely built for mobile use, it is not wisdom for you to use a 4K video format, a video resolution, rather 4K video resolution, something very high. No, you have to reduce it a little, probably to 780 or 420p. That way you can eventually now use a lighter resolution for mobile phone. When you're talking about a projector, you know that you have to use 4K resolution for that. Now, also there are some formats that are important that you also consider when you are using multimedia. Now, you can also use lazy loading principles for better performance. So sometimes it's important that you actually employ lazy loading techniques such that the image is more like, guy, do what you are doing, I'll come back to you later. So it does not stop. Lazy loading means that it does not, lazy loading actually does not stop your site from loading because an image is trying to load. No, it will just allow your site to load while the image is still trying to come up. So as image is trying to come up, your site is still working. It has come up, it's done, but your image is still trying to come up. So by the time you implement lazy loading techniques, it actually helps the system to actually still work fine, even if your image is large. Because sometimes if like we're going to be doing front end, sometimes the image could be like an image upload and you don't have control over that. Sometimes the back end actually has control over that, can decide the size of image to be uploaded, but sometimes the image uploaded might not have been controlled by the back end. So it might just be one very large image of like 2 MB, and then your site is crashing. It's not coming up because there's an image that is wasting time that has not come up yet. So you can apply the lazy loading technique. In that sense, the site loads completely, more like it has finished loading. Image, whenever you're ready, you load. That is basically the lazy loading techniques. Now, in conclusion, HTML multimedia allows for a rich and engaging user experience. By understanding and utilizing the various HTML multimedia elements, you can enhance your web pages using audio, video, and images effortlessly. Now, in this conversation, there's something called iframe, which is not in this conversation. That's because iframe sometimes falls into the conversation of images a lot of times, but it's actually a different multimedia on its own. By tomorrow, we're going to be looking at this audio, video, images, iframe exhaustively. We're going to do something that works. Today, I was just showing you how just navigate here, navigate here, navigate here, navigate here, navigate here. But basically, by tomorrow, we're going to do actual practicals from once we start. I'll just write we do an overview of whatever it is that exists here and then run through the whole system. Any questions for today?
Sorry, please, can you explain more on the lazy loading? I didn't really get it.
Sorry, the lazy loading.
Like how to implement it.
Okay. Now, when you I'm going to use let me use I'm going to use an analogy to explain this. Let me use an analogy to explain this. Now, when you open a site, for example, you have a site, facebook.com. Now, when you're scrolling through the site, you're scrolling from the top to the bottom, there could be images that are too heavy for the site to open up. They're just two images. But now these images, they're in the system. But instead of stopping your site from loading because you are trying to load up the images from the server, you encourage the the server, you encourage the system to be lazy. That's why it's called lazy loading. You encourage it to be lazy. Now, how do you mean it's lazy? It does not come up. It does not, you're not bothered about its loading. Your site just comes up. And whenever the image is needed or it comes to that point of the image, that's when the image is opened. I'm looking for an analogy to actually buttress this further. So, for example, it's just like there are drawers in a house, right? That as long as, even if those drawers is in the house, you would never open them until you need them. They exist in the house. They don't stop you from using the house. They don't stop you from accessing every other part of the house. But because those drawers are there and they're not needed at that point in time, they're just existing. But the drawer still exists. The drawer is still working. The drawer is there. So when you now need it, the drawer just opens for you. So that is just the idea behind lazy loading rather. You have a system, you have a site. As you're opening everything, it's not bothered about loading that image immediately. No, it's not bothered about loading that image immediately. Your site can come up, everything is working fine. But when that image is now, when it's now ready for that image to work, that is when the image comes up. I don't know if you get the picture. Are you still confused? Okay, good. Any further questions? Any further questions? Okay. Okay, good. Good. Since there are no questions, I think it's my turn to ask. It's my turn to ask. Stop sharing. Yes. Hope I can ask questions, right? Nobody's answering me. Can I ask questions? Because I have like a truckload of questions to ask. Anyway, whether you answer or not, I will still ask my questions. That's the interesting thing.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Lucy. I'm with you, Lucy. I can hear you.
Mr.
Okay.
Maya.
I'm with you, Lucy. Can you hear me?
Yes, all right. Maybe if you can start.
Sorry?
Yes.
I'm not sure I can hear you, Lucy.
Can you now stop the recording? Since it's now question we have entered the recording file.
Okay. Thank you for
We're
that.
done for it tonight, right?
Yes. Okay,
Can
I'll
you hear
stop
me
it.
now?
Yeah. I'm stopping the recording now. Stopping it. Thank you.